Good morning. Happy Tuesday, everyone. My name is Jerry, and you have reached my channel, Carnivore Jerry, in the middle of the forest. I am heading out today. It is 10 minutes after 10, heading out to the usual Tuesday haunts. Sun tanning first, and then to physical therapy. So that's the two on the agenda before work. Say, when I closed out the Sunday video, I had mentioned that I will see you on Monday. And I completely forgot to tell you, like last week, because our church is doing the fast. I have something on my face. Because our church is doing the fasting every Monday during the month of August, I also am going to be fasting from doing videos on Mondays. So Mondays are my off days. Okay, what is the topic du jour today? The topic du jour is, for me, creatine, and that's the newest supplement that I decided to try. I don't know. It was brought up by the physical therapist with sort of a precursor cautionary, if your body doesn't need it, because she realizes that I eat lots of carbohydrates. So if your body doesn't need it, you're going to pee it out, of course. And now that I've been doing creatine now for 2 weeks, what I'm experiencing is gas. And that's something that on the carnivore diet you just don't have. You just don't expel extra air, if you know what I mean. And it's not a painful situation, and it doesn't upset my stomach, it doesn't make me feel ill, none of that stuff. It's just the expelling of air that I can't get used to. Enough said. So what did I eat for breakfast today? I had, I'll put a picture in on the next slide. I had 3 eggs done over easy. And on my way back from my sister's, I had picked up my Quick Trip rewards, which was better cheddar. So that was my free reward. And I got that when I gassed up. So I had 2 of those better cheddar sausages and 3 eggs. Electrolyte, insofar as just plain electrolyte water is concerned. That's it, bubble water. That's all I had. I mixed that up with some ice cubes and I drank that down because I felt a wee bit of a headache this morning and I wanted to nip it in the bud right away. Feeling a headache? Take some salt. Your body is telling you something. So that worked. And so did the meal. So I will come back after physical therapy and then we'll talk a little bit longer. Until then. Here are the leftover better cheddars that I had. I put it in this thermal container. I love this container. I fill it up with hot water, make it thermal for heat, and then put a hot food product in there. So I'm having this right after physical therapy. And it's as hot as it was when I put the food in, is as hot as it is right now. It's delicious. If you have the opportunity to buy one of these thermal containers, they work, definitely. I want to talk for a few minutes about when we get to a point of giving up in life. talk about two things. First off, retirement. When does it get to the point that you say, I'm just done with the 9 to 5 and the drag and dealing with the human resources people? Used to be called personnel back in the day, when they kind of sort of companies took care of their employees. Now they just have pencil pushers, file pushers. Open up, read this, get a fax from somebody, send it on, etc., etc. But some people will hold on for the sake of a loved one. I think that's what my mother did with my little sister. When my mother first got her diagnosis with cancer, my little sister was in high school. And I'm sure that her will was very, very strong. She wanted to obviously make sure that my sister graduated in high school. Some people say that there's a burden or a stigma or mental anxiety that happens that many people will blame their parents for. Not that someone would blame their parent for passing away, but my mother held on to make sure she graduated, and then make sure that she graduated from college, and made sure she got married. And that was my mother's will, my mother's reason for hanging on. Some people, more often than not, and I give these statements in very general examples. Typically, a male, will give up when faced with a diagnosis before a woman would. They think, oh, you know what? I've got type 2 diabetes. I lived a good life. I ate what I wanted. I did what I wanted. I drank. I smoked. I had a good time. And I don't care. I'm going to keep eating pizza or keep drinking or keep smoking without regard for their health, their spouse, their children, yada, yada. Yes, I understand that statement that says there is not a U-Haul truck behind a hearse. I get it. We would say that to Jack's mother. Spend it. You spend your money. It was yours. If you want a new scooter, you want a housekeeper every week, you want to have meals brought in for yourself, you do it. Don't save for the kids. And after she had passed away, going through her drawers, you realized, wow, she saved a lot of things. That usually the seniors do save stuff, or like guys, they don't buy new underwear, for example. Their wives buy them new underwear because they're just happy with that see-through piece of clothing, etc. Another thing that happens, again, typically, this happened in my family with a cousin. The cousin was diagnosed. He had a condition, and his wife, for better or for worse, they were married in the church in sickness and health till death do us part. She felt lonely because of his condition that forced him into a nursing home. So what had happened was the cousin still has his condition. The wife had an untimely death. She had cancer, loaded with cancer on the inside. He's still living. She passed away. I always think that's sad when you see television programs, for example. The woman, generally speaking, this is a general statement again, will stick with a man come heck or high water, disease, what have you. They're going to care for their husbands. Men, oh, I'm out of here. She's got this condition, that condition. I don't want to be burdened. It's my golden years, and I am not going to be burdened. That's all too typical. The rare thing is when the man will stick with a woman despite her condition. My brother-in-law, prime example. My brother-in-law stuck with his wife. She was a mean soul. I didn't know her from the jump, so I'm telling stories of what I heard about her. When my brother-in-law's wife died an untimely death due to an ailment, first wife, years ago. Number 2 wife came sniffing around. Oh, hi, how are you? I'll take, oh, you have this house, whatever. She moved in, got rid of all her crap, got rid of her memory, forget about her. She was so mean to him. She was verbally abusive. She was mean. She pushed him downstairs. I'm backing up. You're going to hear the backup beep right now. She pushed him downstairs. She was cruel. One cruel lady. Brother-in-law stuck with her despite it all. And she died a couple of years ago, and he's by himself. He was lonely. It makes sense because we are human beings. We need companionship. Love, of course, love. But sometimes you gotta go through some stuff. Whoa, do you have to go through some stuff? But in my case, you gotta have faith. I'm here at work, so I can take off my belt now. You gotta have faith. And I have that faith. I really do. God's... it's a good thing I wasn't crying on the freeway, because I can't see now. God's in control always. And when you deviate from that, God brings you in line. Or God does something in His time that you don't know why it's happening, but it's just happening. I'm not saying that, for example, in Milwaukee, what had happened was this past weekend, when I was traveling through that storm, going to just north of Madison by the Sisters, I didn't realize that was that same storm that dumped all that flood conditions on southeastern Wisconsin. Again, God's plan. I don't know what that plan is. I can't speak about it. Wow. I cut off my whole head. I can't speak about it. I must have faith. I must have the faith that can move a mountain, lest the mountain fall on me. So, those are some of the things I was thinking about today, and I wanted to share those thoughts with you. Just random Tuesday thoughts. I don't know if I'm going to come on during my lunch hour later. It's going to be pretty hot, so I might not want to come into a black vehicle and be sweating. Right now, it is, let's see, 82 degrees. It's not so bad, but the heat index is high. So, I've got my leftover pulled pork from last week that I'm having again this week, which is fine. My meals on repeat are fine with me. It doesn't get boring. All it is fuel for me. I did realize that my cheat. I say that loosely. That just sounds terrible because I've made a commitment. I've said no cheese, no processed, whatever. When the sister took me out for dinner at the Pizza Ranch, and I had the cheese with the sauce, and I ate like a pig. Boy, that cheese just whoosh, flood the nose. Just, oh. I think that's maybe an issue that I might have later with the processed cheddar, Johnsonville, the cheddar brat sausage, because it is a processed product. So we'll find out later. If I don't feel like eating, I'm not going to eat. I did gain a pound since going to the sister. Not a big deal. I know it was inflammation, and I know it was water weight, and I know the water was coming right out of my nose too. So I may be experiencing that later with the sausage. Not so sure. I may or may not see you. But, you know, at the end, I'm going to always put my steps down. Everything matters. Slow and steady wins the race, especially with a brand new hip. Thanks for watching for right now. Take care, everybody. Hopefully we'll talk soon. Cheers for now. The container on the right is the thermal flask that I use for my ice water during the course of the day. And the one on the left was the sausages, what I put the sausages in for after physical therapy. My lunch, if you will. Two fantastic items. This thermal flask has a straw on the top. Let me pull it down and show you. It has a straw on the top that you put towards you. I got this from Costco. Two of these for $20. I gave my sister the one that was self-contained, and it turns. This is the straw that flips down just because of work. I want to be able to do this one-handed at work, and I can do it one-handed. And she's at home, so she's retired, so she can mess with the stir thing. So both excellent products. If you get the opportunity, buy the thermal flask. You will not regret it.